The Supreme Court just expanded President Trump's power over immigration, and the impact could be felt by hundreds of thousands of people living legally in the United States right now. On Thursday, the court handed down two sharply divided decisions, both splitting 6-3 along ideological lines, that give the Trump administration broad authority to reshape the country's immigration system. Together, these rulings signal that the court's conservative majority is largely deferring to the president's ability to set immigration policy. The first ruling involves a program called Temporary Protected Status (TPS). Congress created it in 1990 with bipartisan support to give temporary legal status to people from countries deemed unsafe due to war, natural disasters, or other crises. For Haitians, that protection began after a devastating 2010 earthquake that killed an estimated 220,000 people. For Syrians, it started in 2011 when civil war broke out. Both programs were extended repeatedly over the years, effectively becoming long-term arrangements. Now, the Supreme Court has cleared the way for the Trump administration to end those protections. That puts roughly 350,000 Haitians and 6,100 Syrians at risk of deportation, and because about a dozen other countries also have TPS designations, the ripple effects could be far wider. In immigrant communities across the country Thursday, the ruling brought fear and uncertainty for people who had been living and working here legally. Writing for the majority, Justice Samuel Alito said federal law is clear and broadly prevents courts from second-guessing the administration's decision to end these protections. The majority also rejected claims that the decision was driven by racial bias against Haitians and black immigrants. But Justice Elena Kagan, in dissent, quoted extensively from President Trump's own comments about Haitian immigrants, writing that those statements, quote, fairly shout, in their racial undertones and overtones alike, that race entered into the president's resolve. The second ruling deals with the southern border. The court, again 6-3, said the administration can physically prevent migrants from crossing into the United States to seek asylum, a so-called turn-back policy that was first used in 2016. Under federal law, once someone sets foot on U.S. soil, they have the right to request asylum and seek protection. The turn-back policy sidesteps that by stopping people before they can cross. Justice Sonia Sotomayor read her dissent aloud from the bench, saying the court had endorsed the administration's decision to, in her words, slam the door shut on all who are fleeing persecution. The administration celebrated both outcomes. The Department of Homeland Security's General Counsel wrote on social media that the T in TPS stands for temporary, calling the ruling a win for the rule of law. Stephen Miller, the top White House immigration aide, went further, saying the United States is now, quote, fully closed to asylum seekers, and that Haitian TPS recipients should leave the country. Immigrant advocates strongly condemned the decisions, with one lawyer arguing the court had allowed the government to ignore a bedrock humanitarian protection that Congress established 3 decades ago. Millions of people, he said, are at risk of being sent back to countries in crisis. What happens next will vary from person to person. Many TPS holders don't have standing deportation orders, which means they may have the opportunity to contest their removal before an immigration judge. But for hundreds of thousands of people, the legal ground they've been standing on just shifted dramatically. These are the final days of the Supreme Court's current term, and more consequential rulings are expected in the coming days, including a likely decision on the president's effort to end birthright citizenship for children born in the United States to undocumented immigrants. This is a story that's far from over, and the next few days on the court could shape American immigration policy for years to come.